Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. I hope that you all are fine and in the best of your health. I am Aisha from English Department Senior Wing APS Ordnance Road. Today we will learn about verbs. And the objectives of this lesson are that by the end of the lesson you will be able to learn what verb is, identify the different types of verb, solve the given exercise on transitive and intransitive verbs at the end of the lesson. So let's begin with what is a verb. A verb is a doing word that shows an action or a state. Action means a physical activity or process. State means a particular situation. Let's see the examples. He kicks the football. Here, kicks is a physical activity, so it refers or shows an action. He likes playing football. Here, likes is a state, it is a situation, it's not an action. Here are some action verbs in front of you: run, scream, play, shout, sing, skip, sneeze, solve, study, touch, turn, walk, etc. You can see some state verbs now, like, know, belong, need, understand, seem, prefer, believe, depend, etc. Remember that the verbs that show the state cannot be used in ing form or in the continuous form. Look at this example. I need a pen. This is a correct sentence. I am needing a pen is an incorrect sentence because need is a state verb, therefore it cannot be used in the continuous form. Let's now move to the types of verbs. We have a main verb, helping verb or auxiliary verbs, modal verbs, linking verbs. We will also talk about the regular and irregular verbs and transitive and intransitive verbs. We will begin with the main verb. The main verb and helping verbs we will discuss after these sentences. Look at the first sentence. They are watching TV. We have submitted our assignments. In these sentences, are and have are the helping verbs because they help the main verb describe an action. They also indicate the tense and voice of the sentence. Watching and submitted are the main verbs because main verb tells the action and state of being. Remember, be, have, and do are the main helping verbs in English. Be refers to is, are, am, was, were, being, been, will be, and have refers to has, have, had, having, and will have. Do similarly refers to do, does, did, and will do. All of these helping verbs help to express tense, mood, or voice in the sentence. Now, how it indicates a tense? Look at the example. She had taken the bait. Here, had is referring to past perfect tense. And in the next sentence, they were lying from day one. Here, were is referring to past continuous tense. It also indicates mood, like in these two examples, did it work and do think again. It is indicating did and do are indicating the mood, interrogative mood and imperative mood in the sentence. Now, in the end, you will see that how it indicates voice. In the last example, the fox was seen by the farmer. Now, here was is showing the passive voice in the sentence. Let's now move to the modal verbs. Read these sentences. He can swim. We must hurry. You should speak the truth. Here, the words written in yellow are the modal verbs, and they are, though they are helping verbs, but they are also adding some special meaning to the main verbs, which are in red color. So look at the first sentence. He can swim. Here, can is showing the ability of the subject. In the second sentence, we must hurry. Must is showing an obligation. And in the third sentence, you should speak. Should is showing an advice. Now, let's see what modal verbs are. Modal verbs are such helping verbs which indicate the mood of the subject and provide additional and specific meaning to the main verb of the sentence, like possibility, probability, permission, etc. So, some modal verbs are can, could, may, might, must, should, will, would, ought to, have to, etc. Remember, they are always followed by the base form of the verb, and base form means the first form which does not have any suffix, means it does not have any s, es, d, ed or ing at the end of the word. Now this list might help you because here you have this list of the modal verbs, and it also shows that which modal verbs are using which meaning, they indicate which meaning, followed by the examples in the sentences. Now let's move to the linking verb. The word linking shows that it comes from the link or connection. So linking verb links the subject with a noun or an adjective in the predicate. Let's see how. Read the sentence: the trip will be a risk. Now here the trip is the subject, will be is the linking verb, and this subject is linked to the noun in the predicate by will be. So will be is the linking verb which is connecting the trip, the subject, to the noun in the predicate. Now let's look at the next example. Here the trip is the subject, will be is the linking verb, and risky is the adjective in the predicate. It means that the trip is linked to the adjective in the predicate by the linking verb will be. So linking verb links the subject with the noun or adjective in the predicate. Remember, linking verb tells us what the subject is instead of telling what the subject does. Let's move and discuss it further. The common linking verbs The common linking verb is the verb to be in all of its forms, like am, is, are, was, were, will be, was, being, has been, and some other linking verbs are seem, become, grow, appear. And you also have some linking verbs which refer to the senses, like feel, see, hear, smell, and taste. Remember that a linking verb tells us what the subject is, not what the subject does. Read these sentences. He looks amazing. Now here looks is not referring that where he's looking at. It is referring to that he is amazing. The soup tastes too garlicky to eat. This is also here that the taste is doing the same job. It is telling what kind of soup it is. And his proposal is madness. It is a linking verb here. Let's move to the regular and irregular verbs now. You have done this before in your previous classes. The regular verb is a verb that forms its past and past participle forms by adding d or ed to the base form. You can also see that an irregular form of the verb is any one that doesn't follow the standard rule of making the past form. Standard rule is addition of d or ed uh, to make the second form or the third form, that is the past form or the past participle form of the verb. So regular forms are all those verbs which make second and third form by adding d or ed, whereas all those forms which do not follow the standard rule of adding d or ed at the end to make second and third form, that is past or past participle form, so it means they are irregular forms. You can see this example: want becomes wanted, that's the second form, that's the past form of want, so it is a regular verb. Roll is also a regular verb because it is adding ed to make the past form of the verb. Now irregular forms are those which do not follow this rule. So begin becomes began and write becomes wrote. It means that begin and write are irregular form of verbs. Now let's go for the transitive and intransitive verbs. Transitive is a verb. Transitive verb is a verb that exerts its action on a direct object to express a complete thought. Exerts means that it applies its action on a direct object to express a complete thought. Whereas an intransitive verb does not require a direct object to express a complete thought. In simple words, you can say that a transitive verb takes a direct object, whereas an intransitive verb does not take any direct object to convey its or express its complete thought. Look at the example. Sarah bought a new bag. So bought is a transitive verb because it is taking an object, a direct object, a new bag. The students worked silently. Here, worked, you can see, does not have any object there in the sentence. So worked is considered an intransitive verb here. Remember, sentences with intransitive verbs cannot be changed into passive voice. Now, look at this transitive and intransitive verbs into detail. Now, we must know that how to identify the direct object. We can simply identify whether the phrase or the word written after the verb is an object or not by asking the question what after the verb. Look at this first sentence. The pirates found the treasure. Now you can ask the question after found what the pirates found. You will simply get the answer the treasure. So you can understand that the treasure is the direct object. So it means that found is a transitive verb. Look at the second example. The pirates laughed heartily. Now here you can ask the question after laughed what? They laughed what? If you're not, it means you're not getting any answer of what. Uh, they laughed. So heartily is telling you how they laughed. It's not telling you what they laughed. It means laughed is an intransitive verb, means it is not taking, it doesn't take an object. Let's recap now. Today we learned what verb is. Verb is either it shows an action or a state. And remember, we also discussed that state verbs cannot be used in a progressive or in a continuous form. We discussed all the types of verb in detail. First, we discussed the main verb. The main verb is the main action in the sentence, and we also discussed the helping or auxiliary verbs. Helping verbs are the verbs that help the main verb in the sentence. Like I am speaking to the students here. Am is the helping verb, and speaking is the main verb in the sentence. Modal verbs are those helping verbs which indicate or which add an additional meaning to the main verb. You must drive carefully. Here, must is used for obligation, and it is adding an additional meaning to drive in the sentence. Linking verb links the subject to either the noun or the adjective in the predicate. So is the linking verb because it is linking this subject he to this adjective in the predicate lazy. Let's move to the next regular verbs we did. So we discussed that the regular verbs make second and third form, which is past and past participle form. They make it by adding simple d or ed to the words. Irregular verbs are those forms of verbs which do not take d or ed to make their second and third form. Like went is an irregular form of the verb. Now transitive verbs, we discussed that transitive verbs are those verbs which take a direct object in the sentence, and intransitive verbs are those which do not take a direct object in the sentence and they cannot be changed into passive voice. Let's move to the written work. Our written work is that you're supposed to define the verb and it's all the types with examples on your notebook. Then you will do this exercise. You will identify whether the verbs in the following sentences are transitive or intransitive. You will do this on the notebook. If you still have any query and if you think that you cannot understand a concept, you can discuss it with me or ask me.